Right, I just want to share a quick topic with you about how to leave people out of your will. Rather than leaving gifts in your will today, how do you leave people out of them? Well, best described by a case called Ilott and Mitson, 2017 case, fairly recent for estate law. Involved mother and daughter, estranged for 25 years. Daughter married someone that mum didn't approve of. They had a ding-dong, usual story, didn't talk for 25 years. Anyway, mum dies and she leaves her daughter absolutely zero in her estate, and she leaves her entire estate, just under £500,000 to two animal charities. Bit of a catty move. As far as I'm aware, she didn't even have a goldfish, but it was her choice, because in England and Wales you can leave your assets to whoever you want, except of course there's an act called the Inheritance Act, and that defines families, dependents, and it talks about certain people that you can't leave out of your will unless there's good reason to do so. Anyway, so the daughter makes a claim under the Inheritance Act against her mother's estate. She was living on benefits, didn't have a lot of money. Makes a claim. The court had to consider three things. It went to three courts, eventually went to the Supreme Court. They had to consider three things. Is the person a valid claimant? She was the daughter. Secondly, was there a will, and did it make reasonable financial provision? There was a will, it didn't make reasonable financial provision. And thirdly, what is reasonable financial provision? By the way, you can even have a mistress that can claim under the Inheritance Act. So if you've got a mistress or a mister, you might want to make reasonable financial provision for them in your will. Otherwise, you risk them turning up at your funeral with a claim form. Awkward. Anyway, so the Supreme Court considered this case and they awarded her £50,000. The reason they awarded her just £50,000, because it seems a bit of a small amount given the estate, just over 10% of the estate, partly was because she was on benefits herself, and she would have lost some of those benefits had they given her more. The point being that they weren't there to make her rich, they were there to consider whether there was reasonable financial provision, and if there wasn't, what reasonable would be. So it preserved the fact that we've got testamentary capacity in England and Wales, i.e. you can give your assets to whoever you want, but it also preserved the fact that certain people are protected under the Inheritance Act. So you might have some stories yourself about this. If you have, please share them in the comments below. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. And finally, if you want some tips on who to leave out of your will, you'll know where to find me.